All right, we're live again for day two, and we'll be getting our speakers shortly. But it's good to be back. I hope you had an enjoyable day one, and today we'll be talking about what next after undergraduate studies. So just bear with me a while, just put it everywhere that we are live. Just put it everywhere that we are live. So if you're joining us, just put it everywhere that we are live. We are live. All right. So make sure to put it everywhere that we are live, live, live. Okay. So like I mentioned, today's topic it's about today's topic is about undergraduate what next after undergraduate graduation. So let me just let's move things around here. Okay. So I'm going to start while our speakers would join us. For me personally, I think, well, I wouldn't necessarily say I had limited resources to when I graduated, uh, but uh, so I actually graduated 2019, and then COVID hit, and so NYC was actually spent during COVID. And I think that gave me enough room to just sit down and really learn the application process, which I think that's what I really did uh, after graduation. But a couple things I think is probably necessary, like that I would advise after graduation would be one, don't lose the connections you have with your classmates, your lecturers, teaching and non-teaching staffs in your university. Just make sure you don't lose connection with them. And sincerely, that cannot be overemphasized because there are things you're going to need after you graduate that these are the only guys that can give it to you. And that can give can cause you a lot of delays uh, when you start maybe putting together application or stuff like that. It can cause you like a lot of delays. Trust me, I've been there many times. So, okay, think. All right. So, welcome, Michael. Welcome, Felix. It's good to have you guys. I know we're all busy right now, even though it's looking like it's the end of semester. But so yeah, I already started, and I mean, I think we're all familiar with like today's topic. And what I was actually saying before you joined in was, I know it's not here, But I think one of the important thing I would say after you graduate from school is to not lose connection with your classmates, your lecturers, and even the administrative staffs. It might look like a joke, but I've seen a lot of people get delayed, even in maybe job or school application, just because they couldn't get their certificate on time, they couldn't get their transcript on time, they couldn't get the recommendation in on time. And all these things lie solely in the hand of the set of people I just mentioned earlier. So it might look like a joke, but I think that is really, really important. I was saying earlier that personally for me, I don't think I had limited access to resources after I graduated because I think upon graduation I kind of knew I just want to further my education into like grad school. So I already had like a goal in mind and where I want to start looking for that information. So I wasn't too let me say lost in that aspect. However, I still think there's limited resources if I'm to now look at everybody generally. Because I've met a lot of people, even not just basic sciences. I mean, I think it's common with basic sciences, but even in professional courses where people are not necessarily sure of which area of that professional course they want to become, they want to specialize in. And sometimes this could be maybe lack of mentors or they've not been exposed enough into the industry and stuff like that. So I'm just going to, I mean, for those of you that didn't join us yesterday, so we'll probably do some reintroduction just to catch up with our online viewers. So my name is Christian. I'm also known as Arako Indari, and I'm a PhD student of University of North Dakota, studying epigenetics. I'm going to pass the mic to Michael if you are there.
Yes, good day, viewers. Good day, Christian. And thank you for having us again. So my name is Michael Adinawola, and I'm a PhD student in the University of Mississippi Medical Center, doing my PhD in physiology. And yeah, it's good to be here once again. I hope you all learn and you're able to find some very resourceful information here.
I mean that's the goal. Actually, a lot of people did reach out to me yesterday, like, "Oh, we learned a lot from yesterday's section." And I mean, for me, I think the goal is just to have that communication. It's not the podcast would not call it maybe something similar, just for us to discuss our personal experience and stuff like that.
Which is
So
good.
yeah, if you're in the chat box, please let's see you. Let's know where you're joining us from. uh, so what do you think about today's topic? What comes to mind when like what were you doing? I know what you did next, but for the viewers, what did you do after graduation?
Okay, um, so the topic for today is, for graduates, right? So what do you do after
Yeah,
graduation? So specifically, if you want to get into, should we see generally on
let's say generally because
generally, okay,
I think obviously we know the goal, yeah, but let's just talk about general things
generally.
first, and then yeah.
So first, right, I'll start from again from undergrad. The purpose of you being an undergraduate is and we talked about this in full yesterday, but I will categorize this into three things. Yes. First is to get your degree. Second is to build a CV for the future. And third is to build character. And you would hear when you were being awarded your bachelor's degree, you were told after fulfilling the requirements, both academically and in character, right? So the purpose of you being in the university is to get a degree, to build your CV, and to build your character. Now, the character might be, in, so many things, right? And I would say immediately after graduation, for Nigerians, this thing is your first year is probably set already. You go for NYSC. And yes, and also if you know what your goal is, right? What you should also be doing, right, during your NYC or before your NYC is putting things in place to build your character if you have not already built it. So Christian spoke about, relationships and meeting your lecturers, the administrative staff. If you think you need them, if you most definitely will if you want to continue in that area. And yeah, and personal interpersonal relationships. These things go a very long way, and we spoke at length about it yesterday. So when you finish, what you should now focus on, since you've gotten a degree, whatever the CGPA was, right? What you should focus on is building a good CV and building your character, your person, right? And building a good CV, I think maybe we would talk about that, depending on which area you want to, get into. And when it comes to building your character, it involves so many things. Religion, reading books. Reading books is, depending on, what you want to do. But on a general note, since Christian said we should, sort of go into it general, like approach it on a general note.
Yeah.
Reading books helps a lot. Even if you don't know what you want to do, just pick up books of people you like, um, things you like. Just read on the course you did, read on, read widely. It helps a lot. Then, like I said, build your relationships. If you don't know how to, you could also watch YouTube videos. If you like podcasts, there are resources online that can help you build good relationships. That can give you tips on how to build good relationships. Try as much as possible to have people around you who have the same or similar goals with you. They don't necessarily need to be above you, because some of us don't just have that the leverage or have the opportunity to meet people who are already big in the field that we want to get into. But it's important that you have horizontal, both horizontal and vertical. But if vertical is what you have, make good use of what you have. If it's horizontal, meaning your friends who are doing well, make good use of it too. When I was applying to grad school, for those who want to get into grad school, my guys were, my friends. So I didn't have this big guy in the US who was helping me review my applications. I did my own part of the deal, which is to do the research, get schools, write my SOP, and I sent it to my friends who were either also preparing or already are in grad school. Christian got into grad school a year before me. So I sent it to them. Okay, review my SOP. What do you think? Said, review this. What do you think? So yeah, that's it. And yes, so help can come from anywhere. And if you are religious, build a good relationship with God, with your parents, with friends, with uncles. Just try to leverage the relationship you have around you. Build new ones. Talk to people. You don't know where people are coming from or what they are doing. Try as much as possible to talk to people. And yes, so in summary, what I've said is, when you're out of school, the major things you should now do, since you've gotten a degree, is to build character and to build your CV. This encompasses, looking for a job, looking for volunteering experiences, depending on the area, in which you want to get into, right? So you build your CV towards that trajectory. And as a person, you need to build character. Okay? So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oga Felix, it's good to have you again. Uh, so what Michael was talking about in terms of character, I remember when I graduated, and there was this very good. I call her my school mommy then, because she was one of like the senior administrative staffs in the faculty at that time, and she had called me to her office after graduating, and she said, "Christian, you might not have been the best graduating student, but this your character of connecting with people and helping people. Just make sure you don't lose it, because it's going to go get you farther than your CGPA." And I didn't even really get what she was saying. I was just like, "Oh, okay. I'll just do me. I wish I was the best graduating student, but I didn't get it." And sincerely, I can't tell you how much like that has really helped in terms of even horizontal relationships, because obviously it's good to have mentors, and that's really important. We spoke about that a lot yesterday. But like your friends, among your friends, okay, people that joined us yesterday, one of the speakers was engineer Sheung, and you'll be surprised that he's been like a reviewer for Education USA for a really long time. And having that kind of relationship with him helped me even when I was applying for like to the US. And like Michael said, same thing. It it just helped to have people around you. And I think that will bring us back to still the first point I was talking about. You are not going to have limited resources if you have unlimited friends or unlimited connections. Because someone you know definitely knows something you don't. Like everyone around you definitely knows something you don't know. And the and I think what Felix too hinted on this yesterday is that you now have to leverage on everybody to say, what does this person have to offer to me that I can't offer myself? And how can that push me from point A to point B closer to achieving my goals? Because sincerely, I think after graduation, you don't want to be in a place where you really don't know what next. And I think one of the easiest way to solve that problem of not knowing what next is actually connecting with people that are probably going to the same place you are going to. That being said, I'll hand over the mic to my Oga at the top, Oga Felix. How's your day going?
Thank God, thank God. Just some kind of writings,
Oh,
Yeah. Um. So I think one thing that is very, very key, all right, is to know where you are going. That's very, very brief. That's very, very key. So, and another thing to that, and addendum to that is you building capacity towards the particular location or destination you are going. So building capacity is I mean is interconnected. It's like broad. It might be, as you said, in character, right? So you don't want to go for grad school or you don't want to be in academics and you stay aloof of some readings for like 5 years, like and you have intention of okay, once I graduated, I'm planning to enter grad school, to further my study, maybe PhD or masters, and you left book. You were doing, some other things entirely like that is not connected to your actual goal at the end of the day, your destination, So, and if that is what you are doing, by the time you get back to your actual goal or destination, you see that you to find your bearing back again will be hard. So the reason
definitely.
why I'm saying this was this, like I knew that, I mean, before I entered grad school, it was 6 years later, before I entered
Wow.
grad school. Yeah. So, what was I doing? I told you I was originally into business. I know I have to pursue some things and all that. So, but I was doing some other things, which was tutorial. I was doing tutorial for students, like just part time. Sometimes I'm not even like from part one to part four. I was doing tutorial alongside like 2 hours, at least 4 hours or 5 hours in a day, right? In the area of my specification, like my organic area and all that. So I was doing that alongside my business. The business is the main thing, but maybe during that, less work hour, I would just go to
Yeah.
campus. Back, you then do some tutorials for students. Some do pay, and while some I'll just be like, don't worry, I'm just doing this. And alongside, I was learning how to be a good TA, start changing
Yeah.
my phone, doing all
You've had
those.
enough teaching experience.
Yeah, you get. So I was just trying to do all those things. Sometimes when I'm teaching, right, I would try and change my, intonation just to feel like, okay, you know what is going on, right? Like things like that. I was just trying to know to see if I can actually gather some, experience and tune myself back to where I need to go. So, but even at as of that, right, I miss out on some other things like trying to, doing some reading in journals, reading and all that. So I was just doing most spiritual work, business, and just doing tutorials. So coming back to grad school, just a little bit shaky, but just because I have that, the area in which I was interested in, which is organic, just forget about it. Bring it on. Like so the experience is so the kind of experience I had from there, it was really even when I was doing TA, I mean the TA coordinator would be like, when I see some mechanism of reaction which is organic, I will be like, this is wrong. You'll be like, how sure are you? I say, yeah. So looking at these fundamental rules, in organic, that this must attack this must not, like I just like this is going to be the right way. You'd be like, that's true. I didn't even see that, like I was trying to, just to contribute based on the fact that even though I've left school for a while, but that
Yeah.
tutor stage, like tutoring actually helped me. But my long-term goal was to go back to academics and get this certificate alongside. Now, and why did I want to get certificate, right? It was to augment what I needed to do. I have a long-term goal on what to do. Like I already know where I wanted to be at the end of the day, and I'm planning all of my possible best. So, and the reason why I have to be doing business and leave, I didn't enter grad school immediately. Some of my friends are already working, like a lot of them. So when we got connected back, so it was the fact that I knew what I passed through when during my undergraduate days. I already know what I wanted. I knew I don't want to rush into anything, right? I want to make sure that I'm good even at home and also abroad. You know what I
Home
mean?
and abroad.
So yeah, so that was my intention. Like I have to do a lot of things just to make sure that I balance those areas. So I already want to know, even at the end of the day, if I should be done with grad school and also maybe what do I really want to do to have my own business, start a company, or to be in the industry working for someone or something. So what other thing can I add to myself while even working, even after grad school, So I already, I've had some
Yeah.
kind of
I,
experience
I think
already after BSc.
something you mentioned that just came to my mind. I mean, you didn't say it directly, but it's one of it's the sacrifice you had to pay because you knew where you were going. And I've seen a lot of people, like I've spoken to a lot of people that, let me just say, they are not willing to make that sacrifice. uh like, I'm sure it was not convenient for you to sacrifice those 3 hours to go teach people that some people might not even pay you completely, or some people don't have the money to pay you. But then you're like, I know why I'm doing this. I'm not necessarily doing this because of your money.
Yeah.
And similar thing happened to me because during NYC, I was posted to a cardiac unit of like of a teaching hospital. And I know I didn't want to work on anything that was cardiology. Like, I know I wanted to do something more genetics. Because of that, I I was lucky enough to meet someone that was like one of the directors, and I told him like, this is my interest. I'm interested in genetics, not in cardiac. And after my NYC, it got me a position with their molecular like and genetics unit. So we're like the one doing the COVID test and stuff. But the price I had to pay was that they were not paying me, and I just had to be transporting myself with like almost 1K, 2K every day just to go to that place and just to learn. And I knew like, okay, I wanted that experience to reflect on my CV that I had this knowledge. And sincerely, that was one of the game changers for me when I was applying to grad school, because I was like, oh yeah, this is like one of the top teaching center in like Lagos, and where I'm part of the COVID unit. And that time, that was like immediately after COVID, where you can't travel out of Nigeria without COVID test. So the volume we were doing every day was massive. And it wasn't like I was really going there, but then I needed to pay that sacrifice of, okay, getting that knowledge and just being there to really, really learn and getting familiar and putting myself in a better position for applying. Sincerely, a lot of people have spoken. I'm like, hey, find a place where you can learn something for free. If even if it will cost you transportation, uh during that period, do it. I had friends that were staying in Songo and they were coming to Ikeja just because they wanted to learn how to do echocardiography, and that made a difference in the application period or even getting them a job. Because I know we don't want to talk about just grad school, but even getting them a job, that made a big difference in like, oh, I had this experience. But sincerely, people will not care about the sacrifice you paid to get to that point. It's just that, do you have that experience? And that's one of the things I tell undergrad, like, so let's say you've assessed yourself and you've seen that you are deficient in some things. You want to make sure those your deficiency does not come back to shoot you in the leg. So make sure you go out there and look for a place to get that
So
knowledge,
yeah,
or
to build
to
capacity.
fill up that deficiency like immediately. I'm sure Michael too has his own story of, Michael, what sacrifice, I know the
Yeah.
sacrifice,
Okay.
what sacrifice did you pay
Yeah.
when after you graduated?
Okay, so after well, I think it was God ordained, as a part of God ordained it as a part of the journey, right? And it's a big part of me now, and I learned a lot of things, on the journey. So after graduation from FUTA, I was posted to Enugu for NYC. I chose Enugu because I had read at the time a lot of things about the Civil War and how Enugu was like the headquarters of the Southeast. So I just wanted to, I've lived only in the Southwest. So I wanted to, explore that parts of Nigeria. So I chose Enugu and then I was posted there. And of course, the first impression I had was I checked the pictures of the camp, of the Enugu camp, and I saw comments of how it's the worst in the country, the worst in the country. I was like, okay, anyways, we would survive. So I went to Enugu with a couple of friends who were also, posted there. And after that, I was posted to work with the Nigerian Army. So of course we left Corona Corpus, we left camp and then resumed after interstate lockdown. So I resumed to the barracks, I was given accommodation, and then I started working. So let me tell you a little bit about, getting getting into the place. So the commander, of course, you have to see the commander to allow you, sign your papers and stuff. So they didn't want to take me because I studied physiology, and many people didn't know the what physiologists could do in the hospital. So he asked me if I could take vitals. So I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I can take vitals. I mean, I was taught that in school. I didn't go for any IT or anything in during my studies, unlike some other people who had some experiences or experience. So I didn't do any of those, but I learned during the practical sessions. I also organized different volunteering what's it called, programs, in neighboring villages around Futa, and we did all of that then. So I learned how to do ECG, and of course, we have a very robust program when it comes to all of these things. So I learned a few things in school. So I told him, yes, I can do this, I can do that, I can do ECG. And in the hospital, I didn't even know there was only one nurse that could do ECG at the time. So he's like, oh, you can do ECG. I was like, yes. He was like, okay, okay, okay. Go and meet the matron. So I met the matron, and she was like, okay, follow me. Went to the OPD. So I was seated there. She said I should do vitals and also help them with ECG whenever, we have patients to do that. So, but I knew where I was going. I knew, number one, I didn't want to go back to sit down at home. I used to tell my friends that I cannot sell a recharge card. I'm not so much of a business person. I'm not so much of a business person.
You
So
can't do POS.
I can't do POS, right? So I have the habit of whatever I lay my hands on, I would like to do it, to the best of my capacity. So even if people are saying, oh, they will kill you, all those ones, I would like to just portray the best version of me in whatever I'm doing. So I worked at the OPD, the ECG office was eventually handed over to me. And what changed everything was that when we closed by 2 as a core member. So that's when morning shifts closes. But when I get home, I'm not doing much, right? So I wasn't doing much. So I will come back to the hospital to meet the nurse on duty. So we talk, gist, I help them out. I was also learning, different things on managing patient management and stuff. So the mission also comes, and in the military, it's 24 hours. You're always on duty. You can go home, but when push comes to shove, they will call you. So, and you have to appear. In fact, you don't have an option. It's yes, sir, right? So most of the time the matron always come back to the hospital to just check how things are going. So she comes and she finds me, usually. So there was a day the nurses were supposed to do a presentation, and many of these people didn't have the exposure, from school. So I was seated there in one of the evenings, and she was like, oh, Copper, come and look at this thing. So immediately I looked at the presentation, and I've done, in fact, in Futa, I've done series of presentations. I was like, oh no, this is wrong. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this. I was like, I told her, can I correct? She was like, oh, in fact, go ahead. After the encounter that day, she told all the nurses before they send the presentations to her, they should send to me first. Right. So that was how I built friendship with the matron. So she also started giving me, things to do whenever I close from work, go to her office. So yeah, do this for me, do this for me, do this for me. And she was doing some military courses at the time. She was a major, trying to be a lieutenant colonel. So I was doing all of those things. I was like, oh. So we were building, relationship. And after my NYSC, I applied for a job, for the job, right? As the person managing, as a physiologist, right? So manage the ECG office. And the commander didn't want to hire me because he was like, in his opinion, I'm not a nurse. A nurse should be the person, or a doctor. So even though he knew I could do it, but he felt I wasn't a nurse. But because of the relationship I had with the matron, and at the time, even after my, yeah, like a week after my advice, I was in the hospital working because I was expecting the result of my application. So the matron was like, after I submitted my letter, I told the matron, oh, I submitted my letter. And he was like, oh, she was like, okay, no problem. So then they were doing some medical examination for all the soldiers in the division. So they came in, I was helping one of the soldiers. And the matron went to the commander to tell him, yeah, one of this person said some application and then spoke so much about me. I was like, see, I've never asked you for anything. This guy is one of our best guys. Don't allow him go. And that was how I was retained, right? Because of the relationship I had with the matron, right? And that was based on my performances under our watch. So I was in, and then few weeks after that, they had issues with the medical insurance office. And then the commander thought about it and was like, I just retained this smart boy, to the OPD, and he still had that bias of I don't want him to be there, and felt okay, maybe I should, send him to work at the health insurance office. So he called me and was like, okay, I want you to be watching what they do here, and I'm sure you'll be able to, handle it with the hope of, transferring the office, of me managing the office. I was 21, I was 22 at the time. I was like, the madam them that were there. I was like, what is this man talking about? What is man talking about? And the div was, it was like, okay, that's the biggest military hospital in Enugu, right? And we had like thousands upon thousands of patients. I didn't have any experience in medical insurance. So it was like, I should go there. So I went there, I worked. And in fact, after like 2 weeks, everything just scattered. And the person that was heading the place had to resign. And then I had to take over, learn on the job and stuff. So, but because I knew, of course, I could, I could direct my vision into medical insurance because it's also a very lucrative part of the health system if you take a look at it, right? And if you want to, where they go, right, to get a PhD. And then we continued applying. So I had people around me who didn't allow me forget that this is the goal. So Christian was applying, and at the time I also applied to. I immediately applied to UNN after my NYSC to just continue with my masters since I wasn't sure of getting a scholarship. So I applied for Erasmus, applied for like engineering, applied all the European scholarships. Commonwealth, Erasmus, Chevening, or more back to back dusting. So that was in 2022. But 2021, yeah. Application was 2021, so resume in 2022. Back to back dusting. Because my NYC was 2020 stroke 2021. Dusting back to back. So I started my master's at UNEC, University of Nigeria, Enugu campus.
Is it UNEC or it's UNN, right?
Yes, but it's Enugu campus, so it's UNEC.
Oh, okay. Because
So
I
they
mean,
have
I just call it
Unsuka.
UNN.
Yeah, they have Unsuka campus and Enugu campus. So the physiology department, the health, law, health, or the teaching hospital is in Enugu. No, sorry, the teaching hospital is in Enugu, but in another local government. But their basic medical sciences and some other departments are in Enugu campus.
So I think there's something you even mentioned that I probably just want us to emphasize on is first the sacrifice you had to pay of staying back extra time when you didn't have to.
When I
And
didn't
it's
have
not like
to.
I didn't like they were paying you that much
And
in
I
that
had
place.
people, tell me, I had soldiers tell me, this guy, they will kill you here. Oh. This is the army. Guy, when they finish, go to your house. You are coming back, they will kill you. But I knew I just wanted more, right? I, whatever they were doing in the hospital were some of the things were new to me. And to be honest, I knew more that I knew there were certain things I knew theoretically that many of the nurses or people who were doing it practically didn't know. So a combination of my theoretical knowledge with their practical expertise would make me even better. And that was what happened, right? So because I knew certain things, I was able to, when I saw them do it, I was able to realize, oh, this was what we're doing then. Okay, okay, okay. And so the matron was able to spot that, oh, we think this guy is doing very well. And in
I
releasing that
think
to yourself.
Yeah, I think something you
Well,
also mentioned is even though the commander didn't want to have you because he felt you didn't have that degree,
yeah, yeah,
your
I wasn't a
your
nurse.
skill and your relationship still made a difference. And
Exactly,
and
exactly.
sincerely, I always tell people sometimes your skills are not enough.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
just need that good
That the
relationship.
commander knew I had that I was smart, but
Yeah.
it took the relationship I had with the matron and the relationship the matron had with him to make things work for me.
That's like a recommendation letter. It's like
Of course,
this
of course.
this is
This
this is
exactly.
my boy. Hear ye him.
And I never knew, like, the first time I set my eyes on the matron was working there. And the first encounter wasn't even good because it was during Corona and I wasn't wearing my mask very well. I was taking vitals for patients and my mask was on my shin. And she came around. And once the matron comes around, everybody stands up like morning, morning, man, morning, man. And he saw my mask on my shin, like call that boy for me.
Bloody civilian.
She told the person in charge, like our master warrant officer, like call that boy for me. So he told me So that was our first interaction, but it was a corrective. She was also like a mother, right? So like I was saying, I surrounded myself with people who also were pursuing the same goal. Like we're trying to get into grad school, like I was trying to. So I didn't forget the goal, even though now my life is going towards another direction, which was in medical insurance. So what I did was even when I was in charge of the medical insurance office, I didn't leave the ECG machine. So on Thursdays, this was like the cardiology clinic. I also built a good relationship with the cardiologist, right? So I was doing ECG, helping her arrange patients, helping her take notes in the office. So every Thursday, I leave my desk as the health insurance officer to the cardiology unit. Right. So I worked there once a week, right? So I was speaking to her, learning things. So that kept me in touch with physiology while I was, building some experience in medical insurance, health insurance. And so with my friends were also applying. I applied to in 2020, 2021, 2022, I applied to Europe. I didn't get in. So Christian and some other guys, got in. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do this because I didn't just want the US. I don't know why. I
I,
just didn't
I
want the
I think on
US.
one of these days we'll talk about Europe, like comparing Europe to
Europe to US.
US.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
since I think I'm on the other side, I'm a very biased person. I didn't even think I tried applying to any European
To any
scholarship or
European.
anything. Like I just knew, like, yeah, I was US. Like we're coming to see
So
Trump.
after I was rejected in 2020, 2021, so in 2022, Christian, Said, Kunle, they were in. So they were also a great motivation. So I applied to the US in 2022. And yes, I was writing my SOP, doing the three. Now I have like three jobs because application is like a full-time job. When I work
Hmm.
in the morning on Thursdays, I work morning to night in the cardiology units. And in fact, the stress of the job kept me in check. Like, guy, you have to get this done and meet your goal.
And the lack of
Right?
financial remuneration.
Yeah. Of course, I was earning 30K minimum wage, but it increased over time.
To what?
It increased over time.
May we not talk. May we not talk.
Ah, so so
But
yeah.
do you
Yeah.
think I want us to drift a little to like maybe the second
Okay.
point. Do you think
Okay.
uh how many options do you think is available for like a graduate student? Like when you just graduate from your undergrad, what options were you looking at? Ooh,
Limited, honestly. But
yeah,
if you
I
have to
don't think
speak
people see it that way.
specifically to physiology, maybe yes, I can speak specifically to
But
physiologists
let's
and tell you
generalize
your
and then
options.
we can talk about our field because
But what?
Oga Felix
But
is here
no,
too.
no, the options are limitless. You can do whatever you want to do. Just
Do you
first,
think
the first
people
thing you
see it
need to
that way?
know. The first thing you need to know is, like you said, your goal. Like Mr. Felix said. your goal. So when you know this is where I'm going, for example, you are traveling from Lagos to Abuja, then you can, find out, search. Am I going by train? There's no train. Am I going by water? Am I going by flights? You need to know the destination, like have an idea of what the destination is before you commence the journey. Sometimes you might, but you need to have an idea. Okay, this is what I think I would like to do. But if you don't know what the goal is and you just set out, even when you think even when you think, okay, maybe I'll make it to Abuja, and you Omorilon, or sorry, it's like it's like going towards Benin Republic, bro. Do you understand? So the most important thing is have the big picture in mind. Be hardworking, build character, build your network with people, and these things will fall into place with time. If you're hardworking, you know what your goals are. Trust me. But the options, graduate. People used to say some courses are outdated. You can't do anything for me. I don't know any course that you can't make something out of. It might not be the traditional way. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
there are people, maybe studying mathematics, yeah, and the traditional thing is to come and lecture or teach in secondary school. Those things might not work anymore, right?
Thank
Or
God you mentioned mathematics. We actually have one of our speakers coming up very soon,
is a
who
mathematician.
is a
But
mathematician,
there are a
and
thousand things, there are a thousand
guy,
places you can work with a degree in mathematics if you are good at it.
he's a big man. He's a big man. Let me just put it
If
that
you are
way.
good at it. So you also have to be good at, whatever you have chosen to do. And you can finish and want to be a fashion designer. You can finish from physiology, finish from engineering, and you want to be a fashion designer. And just know the goal. Look, read, like I said, I majored, I told you have to read. Readers are, I've not seen anybody who is great that doesn't read. I don't know. There might be people, I'm not talking about people that be on social media, people that are really great
I'm
that,
serious. Even
that
even
don't
even
read.
them lasses see them. Like I feel like they are growing the culture of also reading because they can become so funny and so creative without necessarily reading. Now their conventional read might not be obviously be like the books you would read, but I think most of them also read to
You
like
have to be
develop
real.
themselves. Yeah.
You have to
I
be real. So let me
Yeah.
let other people
Okay.
speak.
while you were
Okay.
talking, one of our guys who came in, Ogabola, uh the
Yeah.
rich
Biased
man,
himself.
and
Boss.
he's also the coordinator for ASF, which is like I think it's probably one of the biggest graduate student forum in the US. Uh, at least to the best of my knowledge so far. Uh, and he's a very good friend of mine. So Ogabola, welcome. It's good to have you.
Yes, bro.
And
So what are we discussing today?
what are we discussing? You can see the slide. It's what is next after undergraduates
Oh, what's
graduation.
going on now? Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a
So
background noise on your end?
you guys just I just need to just supervisor. So that's why I'm so confused.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So can I talk?
You can introduce yourself a little and then yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my name is Odun Arubola Payo. So
No read your CV.
I'm a PhD student at the University of Colorado Boulder, Material Science and Engineering. So yeah. So
Okay.
that's just a little bit of my profile. Yeah. For those in
So
Nigeria, I'm an alumni of Yaba Tech and also University of Ibadan. Okay, so
so we've actually addressed the first point, which is uh limited resources around making informed decision, whether to go into academics or career or industry. And we are kind of drifting into the second topic now. Like what are options do you think are available for grad students and how can they
option what?
leverage what
Yeah.
options are
Sorry.
available for like people that have graduated from
Okay,
undergrads and how can
Yeah.
they leverage those like choosing.
okay, so yeah.
Oga
Okay,
Pius,
just
give
give me
me 1
like
minute.
30, 10 seconds.
Okay.
I don't want to
Okay. So
disturb my lab.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know. The link is something is not opening on my phone, so I need to use a
All right,
guided
maybe
phone.
okay, let me
No,
know when you
just give me
get
like 10
to where you are.
seconds.
All right.
Jesus.
okay. So yeah,
Oga
I
Felix.
just I wanted to correct the notion. Like I just calculated the years. We also finished like 2017, but it's 10 to 2018. So I think it's around 4 years before I
What?
enter grad school. So I'm
Okay.
trying to correct that notion. So 4 or 5,
Oh,
yeah, 4 or 5. So
oh,
yeah.
well,
So
I think
do
it's
you know
something I
during
should
that
let me
during that
ask you.
period?
Yeah, I was going. Maybe I think you probably want to expatiate on it, but then
Yeah.
did you lose hope at some point? Because if it takes you like 4 years to get something, I think at some
So
point you're like,
yeah,
this thing, should I
yeah.
still? And you're
So
making money. Then you could have been like, let me just focus on this business.
I mean,
Okay, so can I talk now?
so short
Bolaji,
term goal. Yeah, there is short term goal and long term goal. I said it earlier. So for the short term is to acquire money, and I mean, like not like acquire a lot. Like I just want to balance myself in that area. So that was working, but the long term goal is not working, right? So, but what are the things that I need to put in place, right? Do you know during that period I was able to, collaborate with someone and we had like three papers.
wow.
I didn't had I was unable to, gather all the papers during my undergraduate days. It was the gap between undergraduate, and graduate school. So during that period, I was doing all possible best so that I can hit that target, of the long-term goal. Those are the things I was doing. So like for the short term, I was doing well. For the long term, no, no, no. My guys are far, 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 far ahead. You know what I mean? Like my contemporary, those people that but the funniest thing is that was why I said yesterday that the two dichotomy or the echelon of stratum, like both the upper echelon and the lower echelon, I was in between. So collaborating with the lower echelon, I was fulfilling purpose in a way. So for the upper one, which was the academic part, there was a gap. People are already going. So, but I was doing all the necessary thing I needed to do, right, so that I can, at the end of the day, get to my destination. They said life. I think it was our window said, say life is 10% of what happens to you, and 90% of how you react to it. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
10% of what happens to you is 90% of how you react to it. So I just, okay, fine. These are the things that I have to put in place. There are a lot of things I have to put in place. I just keep on doing what I needed to do.
I think that was a good
Happy.
thing that
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you were
yeah,
able to put publications into place
yeah,
even after you graduate. And people
yeah.
don't like it's these little things that matter sincerely. For example, I remember my first publication came like almost a year plus after I'd graduated too. And that was because first my supervisor wasn't in Nigeria at that time. We had to do a lot of emailing back and forth. I remember there was a day he looked at the data. I was like, I think Christian, you need to analyze all this data again. This was me. I was already done. I had my certificate. And my supervisor was like, I need you to realize it. I was like, oh God. I did that and write, review, send back multiple times. And I knew people that were also in my set in that same that couldn't they were not ready to invest that time
Christian,
into
my undergraduate research was published last month. And
yeah.
I kept
That was
contact
like
with my supervisor. So that's why
that
that kind of thing can happen.
that
It
was
was
like
published last month.
4 years
Yes,
ago.
now.
So those kind of things happen, and I've seen people not ready or willing to make that sacrifice or the time commitment. Also, while we're discussing, one of our speakers also joined, Joshua Owolabi Adeleke. Big man is
Boss.
it's really good to see the mathematician.
I'm very glad to see you. See my goddamn Oga Felix, Oga Bola.
Yeah, it's good to have you. It's good to have you.
It's good to have you here, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
Bola, you're about to say something. I think you are settled now.
Okay, so okay, I'm setting up. Okay, so you asked, I think your question is that what are the options we have after graduation, right?
Yeah, and I think I want us to talk more from like personal experience. What were the things you did immediately after you? I know you've been to
Okay,
school multiple
so
times.
yeah, so I think
Oh, don't do that.
no, no, I think, can you guys hear me? Okay, good.
Bola, my guy, live
So
out.
I think the most important
He's a
thing you need
scholar.
to
He's a
like,
scholar.
so I think this is a mistake people used to make, right? You don't plan your life when you get to the bridge. You plan before you get to the bridge. So yeah, that's one
Word.
thing. The way your life
That's
is
deep.
going to be
That's
after
deep.
graduation is what you did, what you do when you are still in school. Let's
Right.
be frank with ourselves. So for example, when I was doing my ND, I already told myself I'm going to like one day study abroad and also go to university no matter what happened. Even when I was doing my HND, I know I'm going to go to university by 5 by 4. So when I was in UI, I told myself I'm going to like study abroad. Like that, I don't know the country, but that was my plan. I'm studying abroad. That was
You're
my
great.
plan. And I didn't plan to study abroad after I graduated. I already know how to study abroad. So that's why I make sure I try to like get a requirement that will make me to study abroad, right? So the reason why I said is just that I have a friend, like three of them, they are in Nigeria today, just because after graduation, and I said they want to study abroad, and they have third class, which they can't use to do anything. So sometimes what you want to do after graduation, you need to do it before graduation. But after my graduation, so this is how I position myself. Like I said, I already know where I'm going to, right? I want to study abroad. I don't really care about. I never applied to a job in Nigeria before in my life. Today, yeah. So after my graduation, the first day I dropped my pen for my final exam. As I dropped it, I just called a guy on WhatsApp that I think that is currently studying in Canada. That, oh, I'm done with my exam. Like, what is the next thing I would like to study abroad? To be honest, my mind is going to Canada because most graduates in my department, in my studies, go to Canada. Because they have a particular school, this University of this Toronto, one school like that, they have some anomaly of UI mechanical that there are professors there. So they normally try to like, come and work with me, come and work with me, this kind of stuff. So I already even created a relationship with one of them also, and also a professor in South Korea, right? So then I said, okay, fine. I have the CGPA, I have everything. Okay, what is the next thing I can do to like give myself a better edge in what I'm going for? Then I make sure I served in an engineering company in Kanji, right? So yeah, even when everybody's applying to work, from department, my department is trying to like link you with a company. I don't really care about it. I I even received some couple of email that time because my department reached out to me that you send my CV, which I did. Then some company reached out to me. Till today, I didn't reply the email. I didn't go for the interview. I didn't do anything. Yeah, because it was
Uh,
in Port Harcourt, so I choose
you're
not to go.
proud.
No, it's not about fraud. No, I'm kind of person that until my major plan fails, I don't have another plan. I don't have plan B in my life. Yeah, I'm not a plan B person, so they get the point. Then, so it was when it was 20, during COVID-19 now, COVID-19 hooked everybody at home. Not to myself, okay, fine. So through that time, then I started using my LinkedIn more. Then a friend told me about Education USA. I said, okay, yeah, but these people, they can, you have a first class, you should apply, if they pick you, you can sponsor everything about it. I said, okay, then I shifted my focus to US since Education USA. At least I don't have any money to even apply to Canada. Then why can't I just make use of this opportunity? So in 2020, I applied to Education USA. That time, I don't know, they used to set GRS based exam. I don't know what the meaning of GRE. I blank in that exam. So they didn't shortlisted me for like I was just out. I said, okay, no problem. Then 2021, I already know they are setting exam, I already read about it, and I applied in 2021, then I was picked. So that's why I shifted all my focus back to like US. So so like I said,
I think
already
something
people,
you mentioned, Bola, that I want to probably stay on for a while, and maybe all of us can. I think we've already spoke about it before you joined, is the choice of where you do your NYS is very important, and this is probably very niche to Nigerians now. And even if you're not a Nigerian, the choice of where you work immediately after your NYS should very much align with where you want to be. Even if you don't get the direct opportunity, let's say you're posted to something that is not related, always make sure you're trying to do something that is still very related to your goal, because that gives you a very good understanding of what you might be getting yourself into and letting you know if you actually have interest in it or not, and also put your CV in a good place when you're applying. Because I'm sure
yeah,
that experience you had in the engineering company really boosted your understanding of what you want to do, to say,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
do I want to
So
stay in industry, or let me just maybe go to my grad school and get more knowledge and come back, or something else?
yeah, yeah. So people really want to like focus on. I think one of the mistake people used to make in their when we are still in school is just that they just want to like make money. I want money, 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 IT. When I was in my IT, I got two offers. I got one in depot. I got one in NFPC depot. Yeah. Then I got another, and I got flour mill in. Levis depot is going to pay me more than flour mill. And I just need to be monitoring the way they are loading for it. That's all. Enjoy myself in Ibadan, like enjoy my life. But I'm not going to learn anything. But I choose to go to Lagos, where they are paying me 15,000. But that was my best experience in engineering life. Everything I've been taught in thermodynamics, mention it, I saw it live. The machines, how heat transfer works, how the combustion was and everything. I was so I'm not happy. And at the end of the day, when we were leaving, I was the best IT student. They gave me a lot of check and a lot of stuff. And when I calculated the money I have collected from with the check even covered everything, with experience. And compared to some of my friends that they say, they want to go and work here because they're paying them 70,000. Okay, everybody choose where they want to go to, but the most important thing is that when you are in school, I think when you are still in school, one of the most important thing is just to like find a way to gather a lot of experience. And the reason why some people struggle, especially those that want to apply to graduate school, even want to apply to job, the reason why most of them struggle after school is just that apart from their CGPA, they don't have any relevant experience to what they want to apply to. So imagine someone that is in engineering that when you want to do IT because you know someone in GTB bank or you know someone somewhere, they should took him in. They told him it's like they will just give him one title, IT official. At least he will defend or it's like even though you know that doesn't do anything. But now you are graduated, you want to now apply to an engineering company. Then you have no experience. Even and I used to tell people if you know, and that's the reason why I'm saying that it doesn't make sense to be telling people when after graduation then what next. No, you should know what next when you are still in school. Do you
Do
get
you
the
think
point?
the
Yeah.
issue now is sincerely I've spoken to a lot of people and I don't think people know what next, which is why we are doing this to really get people to know that. And if yesterday's section actually addressed some of the things you've mentioned, that the journey, and if you look at the topics we're going to be addressing for this like couple days, they are actually very progressive, and that's the goal, to actually get people mind oriented from undergraduate days, to know that everything you do is like a building block to
Mhm.
get into like a final goal or a
The
final
final one, yeah.
destination. So Oga Joshua, it's good to have the best mathematician that I know. I think this guy is freezing. Is he going to is he solving the equation? Hopefully, when we have him back, he would. Michael, do you want to
I
say
think his
something?
video is I think his network is down because
Yeah,
his
yeah,
video is paused.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
something
video
like
free is freezing.
I would like to highlight the
that.
fact that sometimes when Mr. Bola spoke about getting relevant experiences for your IT and also maybe after graduation, but the truth is, the reality is sometimes it's very difficult to, and I would
Sure,
like him to
sure.
address
Yeah.
that. It's very difficult to, and that's why some people resort to, because they have to. My younger sister just finished IT, and it wasn't easy to get a good architectural firm or architecture firm, to where she can learn relevant experience and present properly. Right. So she had to go to Lagos, so it's sometimes difficult. And some people don't have anybody in Lagos, right? So what do you think? How do you think people can maneuver, that particular stage of their life, maybe in 400 level or immediately after? Some people don't even want the money. I just want somewhere great where maybe it's close to me or something, that I can get the experience. But the truth is, these places are also limited. Or maybe are in
True.
Lagos, and some people stay far away. Like some people stay in, in villages, in Enugu, so it's
Okay, so
difficult.
to me, like you said, you are perfectly correct. We have some people to get IT. It's like going through hell, right? But we have other things like people can do for your sister now. Your sister is like architectural person, right? If she can't get a physical experience somewhere to like work, why can't she volunteer? Why she can still learn some software on her own because I'm not sure they are like bid on software. She can even volunteer to like a civil engineering company. Oh, can I design some of your work? You don't need to pay me. Can I just do one? No, with that, what she wants is that what I can put in my CV to show that I've learned something. Do you get the point? For example, when I was in school, I learned a lot of software like they didn't teach MATLAB in UI as a course, but I learned little about it. I learned little about Python. I know some of my friends. 500 level. They are guru in Python, like, and they learn it on their own. Do you get the point? And they put this thing on their CV. They didn't learn it from any. And funny enough, if I send you my academic CV now, everything I learned in Flower Bed, I think I only put here because I know it's academic CV and it's not a job CV. Then why am I stopping myself? I think I know there's some people, if you study accounting, what do you want to do? You know, you need a location to get experience. You
But
need
I
like
think
a
I think even for that, for
I think that's
example,
what I think I understand. I understand your point for because it depends on course. Someone that
but
study
I
accounting and bank or financial institution to get experience, whether you like this or not, you get the
I think
point.
you can still create experience in that
Oh yes,
aspect.
yeah.
Because the way I would see it, for example, if I was an accounting student and I'm having difficulty maybe getting into a bank, one of the things I would do is probably learn a lot of data analysis skills because that's something
Yes,
that's now big up on like banking now.
the talent is skill.
Infographics. Can you present something like show that you could look at numbers and you're good with them? And for example, I have a friend here who is she just finished. She's rounding up her masters on information something technology and stuff, and she just got a job with a bank. And basically, what she's doing is a data analysis for them. Literally,
So
like
yeah,
she's not doing
usually.
any other thing that's even like accounting related. Our
So
own is
let me
just
tell
give me
you.
any data I will analyze.
I have a friend, right, that studied. He's even a first class student in petroleum engineering. He's in that ASL group. You know what this guy came to years to come and do? Business analysis, analytic or something like that. Yeah, from petroleum engineering cross. Because when we were in school, this guy always focused on data analysis. He has been using Python, R to do analysis kind of stuff. So when you want to apply, they saw all this in the CV that, oh, you can use Python to do this thing, you can use R to do this thing. Yeah, and it was fully funded, to be honest. Even before he resumed to the US, they already prepared summer IT for him in France. He's part someone that studied petroleum engineering. He told us that he's not doing engineering for his life. So from at least we stay in the same or from 3 level, we started learning all these skills that can shape him to the next thing he's going to do. You get the point? And he got it now. He just got it. He even told me he got it in spring. This spring. And he already got a job with a financial organization in the US. Yeah. So there's a lot of things you
Joshua,
can do to lessen yourself.
yeah, Joshua, do we have you now? I think Joshua is having a bit of a network
So
problem.
if
Joshua,
your sister want to learn
did you move
more,
to Nigeria?
so if your sister want to learn more, that is Madden. I don't know Madden Awola. I can connect you with a
And then I
very
was like,
big
no, no, no.
friend.
Of course, she got an
No, like if she still
she
want to
got a
learn
placement
more
and so.
on
Okay,
architectural, I can connect you to his friend that is a very big architectural. He's working already. Like he has
great.
his own company. Maybe they can just. You don't need to like work with the guy, but you can ask the guy question, talk to the guy. Okay, yeah, and the guy already got some like PhD offer already. So he's doing.
We will do
That's good.
that after.
That's good.
Joshua, do
Thank
we
you.
have you now, or your village people are still doing your network?
So I don't talk mathematics.
Joshua will start blowing some English that I don't understand now.
No,
So
no, no.
it's good
Ogabola,
to have you.
that was a very big remark from Ogabola. That's so great. I can relate. Yeah, thank you very much, Oga Christian.
Yeah, so just a brief introduction of yourself, and I know you've obviously been hearing about what we've been talking about so far.
Yes.
So just introduce yourself. I know you two, you've been to school a lot. Uh, we are learning from you, and you have a very
Oh,
diverse experience from Europe to US. So we hope to learn from your expertise.
I would consider that as something very much unfair and some kind of teasing because saying that you're learning from an expert is pursuing my degree in mathematics to a biologist. There's
I
nothing you
beg,
want to
I
learn.
beg.
Since
All
we've got a
right.
very few, since we've got a very few person, like we learn by we're growing up. They said always give honor to whom honor is due. So thank you very much, Oga Christian Abosedi. Thank you very much. And my most distinguished and respected scholar and mentor, Ogabola Odwa. Humble myself, sir. I salute you, sir.
I think I get it. Oh,
don't
Egba
use
Felix.
don't use
Egba
all the
Felix.
minutes.
Egba
Don't
Felix.
use all the minutes. Don't use all the minutes to greet, please.
Oga Made. Now, sorry. Nice
It's
to meet you.
Michael Adenawola.
Adeima,
I think
nice
it's
to
to
meet you.
change this.
Yes,
It's a
yes, yes.
school's email.
So,
M and then
yes, yes. So, yeah, like you said, I hold a degree in physics. Afterwards, I worked a little while in Lagos. And like Ogabola was talking about experience, I think I had my own fair share. So when I was done with school, I saw everybody putting all the samples of CV I saw. Everyone keep putting on their CV analytical skills. So I also included analytical skills on my own CV too. So I got to this first job, and the interviewer picked my CV and said, Josh, you have analytical skill. I said, yes. In my head, I was thinking it's the analytical mechanism I did in undergraduate days. And he said on the scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate this? I said on the scale, I'll give myself 5. And everybody that guys are not joking. They just took me to one room, opened computer, Excel, asked me to sit in front of Excel. You guys are not kidding, no. I brought my brother. I brought out my phone. They gave the first. They gave this. They gave about 3 columns. So I mean, each row you have to sum up. You have to sum up the data entry to the right. Then at the end of the day, you sum it up. I look at the room. Nobody was watching me. I brought out my phone. I did first calculation. That's 3 minutes for this OT. Wait now. I was seeing like 100 rows.
Oh.
Right? So I took a course, US 304 in part 3. Sure, about that the man keeps saying there that every formula in Excel start with equals to. I clicked on equals to. I think this is making sense. I remember cell reference. I look at the cell reference, I did that. I ended to just start thinking of what I did in that class. And it happened though, I just double click on the extreme of that cell, of that, I mean, sum up cell, and it copied. Oh, perfect. Tax 1. Tax 2, I started seeing VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, Ewotu, Lele Interior, Lambola, February, right? My brother, I was just sweating. And so when they came, I said, no, give me more time. They said, no, it's fine. When they pulled up my result, 33%, I was like, wow, you don't tell me you want to disgrace me. You didn't tell me you want to disgrace me now. I said, no, you're still within frame. You said you're within 50%. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you had to give yourself 5, 33% is not so bad. I'm like, okay, it's it's fine, it's fine. So what I'm just trying to say, just to corroborate what Ogabola said and what you said earlier, going to get some experience, some hands-on experience. You gave a talk about, you remarked about MATLAB and Python, and you also made mention of infographics and data analytics, and that was my very first big shock. And I remember begging the interviewer there. He said, "Oh, Josh, since you know a lot of quantum mechanics, we could be the next to kick." I said, "Please, I don't want to teach. Please, I don't want to. Please, I don't want to teach, because if you teach in Lagos, they'll pay 20K or 25K."
But you still teach now, right? I mean,
I
I saw your recent
I
updates.
thought, but that was no, that's at university level. So I mean, I'm talking of teaching in secondary school back in Nigeria. You
No.
suffer. Ogabola can relate. You suffer. You teach further, teach physics, teach chemistry, teach biology, if possible. So yeah. So I mean, we can't overemphasize the place of some hands-on skills. So I finally got that job, and my departmental manager took it upon himself. I have to keep registering for Coursera courses on Excel, then Excel, then Excel. Before I knew, I went from Novins to using pivot table to using BBA in less than a year. And in no time, that got me my second job at Danome, which was a multinational firm. You know what I'm saying? So I keep asking myself, how do you go through school for 4 years doing physics? And I didn't want to do Excel.
Yeah, I think maybe that will bring me back to something we had spoken about yesterday in terms of sometimes I don't think students are exposed to standardized curriculum that prepare them for maybe industrial positions. And that kind of creates so many loopholes around students in terms of what they need to like fill up. In because for example in our field too, I've met physiology graduate students that, for example, they don't even know they can't define some basic genetic stuff, and that's because they probably didn't even get that exposure while they were like doing uh doing it, or all the lecturers that taught them were all medical doctors, so in their head the only hope for you to be a physiologist is to end up being a medical doctor. So most of them go up. It's just like, let's say all the guys that taught you mathematics were all teachers. In your head, you're like, this is like the only thing I can be.
Right.
That's it's so niche that okay, yeah, I think this thing, mathematicians are just teachers, and I'm sure that's the stereotype you probably go when you tell people, "Oh, yeah, Chauvel teaching you Joseph,
Yeah,
Joshua." That's what people will tell you, and that's because obviously they're very limited in terms of and it's because what people see around us.
Right.
They just say, "Oh, this guy cannot become more than a teacher."
Right.
or this thing cannot make too much money for you and stuff. Because I remember when I'd finished physiology there was this family friend. You know, families, let's be careful, family friends. This man went to my mom and was like,
Right.
you know, your son is still young, he can go back to do medicine. And my mom was already buying into it. And I'm like,
Right.
Mom, I can become a doctor without being a medical student. So please, as in, I don't want to go back
Right.
and do medicine. I
Right.
don't want to. Let me just stay here, and there are things I can do in this field that will still be good, that will be able to
Agreed.
take care of myself and everything. So
Agreed.
I think there's that limited there's that influence of the curriculum on students because, for example, like you said, there are a lot of mathematics students that don't know how to use Excel. Like
I mean, I couldn't at the time. I couldn't at the time. But after school, I was exposed to them.
And you'll be surprised, like, okay, what were you guys learning? I know you learned the YDX, but or on Excel you can't find the X.
You can't. You get it. You get it. You
So,
get it.
like, what's the point of learning the YDX? And we
Right.
tend to have a lot of theoretical things just pushed to us, especially in like African-based curriculums. Most of them end up just being very theoretical.
Right.
Maybe this one is a topic where I'll probably invite some of our lecturers to come talk about and why we've been. I know we've had this discussion before, yourself and I, on why our curriculum are so I don't know, so backward. I think that's the word.
No, I don't want to use the word backward. Permit me to.
Or inadequate.
That might be too ambiguous. But you know what I'm thinking is, I mean, I've been opportune to work in one of the biggest national lab in the US, if not in the world, Los Alamos National Lab, and I can
Big man.
see.
No. Let's say it again for people that don't know. For people that don't know.
I beg.
For people that don't know.
So, and I can tell you that you can imagine in the last summer, we were 2,000 interns. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're 500 in the theoretical division, like 500 mathematicians, physicists, theoretical biologists, all together. And you can imagine going through the aisle of the theoretical division building, and everyone could talk quantum mechanics, scattering theory, nuclear physics, and the like. So I would even say that maybe I wouldn't say our curriculum is very much archaic, but I would say maybe the connection wasn't very much obvious, in my opinion. I'm not talking as an authority because example, I keep asking myself how I was exposed to relativity physics without taking any course in differential geometry and differential topology. It doesn't make any sense. How I was exposed to quantum theory in Nigeria without taking a course on on group theory, Lie groups. I mean, but we have to do it and we passed.
Don't scatter my head. Don't scatter my head.
No. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is like you'd observe that even some of the prerequisites to understand some of these things are lacking somehow. So you just keep doing those things independently, like okay, only cache quantum at quantum, no.
Yeah.
You just
like
so
I
you
mean,
don't get to see the connection.
I get what you're saying, and sincerely, I think that needs to be addressed, but not to divert, because I feel like we'll rant about that, and I'm sure everybody has probably experienced that one way or the other. So if you were to go back, and I think I'll allow everybody to speak on this before we address one question from the viewers.
Right.
So we're going to take one question for the viewers just to round up. But if you were to go back to your undergraduate, let's say like to the moment where you just graduated, if you had to change one thing, what would you change?
That's a very big question. Well, for me, I try to live a life of, no regret in a way, because in the sense that
I didn't say you regretted it.
No.
I
mean, that's just by the way. but the key thing is, once I'm giving my all best, whatever comes out of that, I think I take it. So I feel when I was at the time I was leaving school, I felt that everything I was expected, go to school, get 4 points, we did all that, and I felt justified. So every other thing that I was, what do you say?
4 points what?
I wasn't that smart, 4.26. Ogabola is like 6.7, 6.8. That's not.
No, leave Bola. Bola is another word.
So the key thing there is, I feel that.
What did I do? Which another word? What did I do?
Ogabola,
no worry.
You scholar your own space, okay? Charlotte. So, but for me, I don't think. Maybe the only thing will be that maybe I would have taken a break and learned some analytical skill, which I thought I had because I saw on everyone's resume that they was.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Felix, I don't know if you'd like to go next, or Michael.
I think for me, so ah,
Why is this man
for me,
laughing?
like the fear of unknown, I think is one thing that one needs to fight against in life generically. I wish I, I knew that, man. Come on, don't worry about that thing. Like it's have been much, much more better. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
just
but I think
live the
if
life at its best. Like I know that we have a lot of fear of unknowns that I don't even know where I'm going to be. I don't know
yeah,
what's the future holds. So it will destabilize your mental acuity, like your mental capacity in a way. So
no,
if
okay.
building that strong mindset is a key. Like anything that comes, it comes, no matter what. And this life.
It's sad when you are receiving love
Yeah,
letters.
yeah.
Bola, please
I
go
know, right?
next.
So okay. So yeah, so I think that is one thing I've done much more better. So it's very important. Yeah.
So Bola, yeah, you can go next.
What's your question, man? Do you ask me any question?
Yeah, I said if you're to change anything, if you look at the moment you graduated to now, like if you had to go back and change anything, what would you change?
In school or after school?
Like after school. After school.
Okay. I think the only thing I want to change is learn more skills because there's some skills I'm supposed to learn that I didn't learn that it's affecting me now a lot. Yeah. It gave me a lot of headache, even research, life and everything. Or I will marry before I come and get it out.
But the
don't
issue
let
is,
us open your yash here, please.
Marry
uh
before I come and graduate.
well, Bola, the issue is you can't learn all those skills while you're in Nigeria, no matter how
I,
much
see,
I think I learned the one that are so
there
important
are.
to my life.
Yeah. So there are a lot of disadvantages over there. I mean,
from a
you know what
married
I'm
man
saying?
to a single man, I
No,
hope you are
I'm not talking
learning.
about marriage now. I'm saying like skills that you need to. I mean,
All right. While we're talking, another boss came in, Said Lawal, yeah, I can call you that. And we've been friends for a really long time also. So I'll let
That's
him
married
introduce.
man to me.
Yeah, like married man category. Maybe we do another meeting where we talk about marriage, so that all these single guys can live my life.
But last time I checked, you're actually single to stupor. You were single to stupor the last time I checked. Has anything changed?
To
Oga
to
Felix.
to my online audience, don't mind this guy. Let's stay on course. So, Michael, I think I'll allow you to talk. Then I'll probably give the mic to Said to just share one or two with us. So, if you had to change anything, what would you change?
No,
Honestly,
Michael hasn't talked. Okay.
I don't think I would have, changed anything apart from maybe gotten married on my 30K salary. But I think
It
everything
looks
worked,
Brother,
well,
wait, you wanted
really.
to marry on 30K? Tell me what was driving you?
That was a joke.
There's
yeah.
I
That was a
think
joke.
another thing I can change. Another thing I would also like to change is just that, I think I will have applied earlier as 2020. Because that time I was so afraid I'm young, people, because one thing that affected me that
Oh,
time
you
is that,
mean
if
apply early to grad school, like instead of
I'll have,
waiting?
yeah, I suppose because at that time already have my result, I have everything. Then, when you started reading all these Twitter news, and you need the experience, you need this, there's not really a direct pay that can put me through on what I need to do. So I have to I waited for 1 year until I got this guy on LinkedIn. What's going on? This Dr. Kelvin, yeah, is my very close guy now. Yeah, that's working in Intel. My very close guy now is one that put me through that time before I even then through education and everything. So imagine that. I think I would have applied early, to be honest. Yeah. But the most
Okay.
important thing before I leave that country.
We will solve your problem later. LSA, it's good to have you. So just briefly introduce yourself, and then I'm sure you're familiar with the topic we're talking about. So
Hi guys, hello everyone. My name is. I hope you can hear me clearly.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, my name is Saeed Lawal. So I'm a PhD student at Stony Brook University. So I.
Congrats.
Oh, can okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's not really much difference. So okay, I'm a PhD candidate at Stony Brook University. So I study neuroscience. I do neuropsychiatric associated neurodevelopmental disorders. So I
See,
study neuropsychiatry.
From the name, you know it's you know it's a long
from the
thing.
background,
Can you see the background? Can you see the back? I can see some axon and dendrite, or what are they called? Some neurons flying everywhere behind his back.
I beg.
by the way, Said was
Yeah.
FUTA's best graduating student in
Yeah,
2019,
I
so
know you will
he's
not say that
good.
one. I know you will
He
not
is
say that.
good.
Oh, Michael,
But
are you from Puta?
PSG.
Michael, are you
if
from
we
Puta?
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
CGPA
graduated
that
from Twitter.
CGPA
Yeah.
can
If you're from
send
Puta,
message.
I'm talking about Madi. Madi, are you from Puta?
You said?
No, I'm talking
Michael,
about.
yes. Michael, yes. I
Yeah,
graduated from FUTA.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
continue, sir. Continue, sir.
yeah. So that's what I do. I study neuropsychiatric features associated with some neurodevelopmental disorders like autism. So I'm sorry for coming late. I just got off a meeting, so I don't know how much extensive. I know you guys have talked extensively, but I met the discussion on marriage. So
we that was a diversion.
I
That
was
was a
like, okay,
diversion.
so I thought maybe I joined the
No,
wrong group.
actually, maybe we can talk about it. Do now you got married after
Maybe we
undergraduate.
should not.
It's
Maybe we should not. Maybe we should stick to grad school.
Right,
yeah, but
right.
I think it's something I would probably create a whole section for just to discuss it. But what we are actually been talking about is helping undergrad or people that just recently graduated in
Okay.
deciding what to do next and really aligning their vision. And some of the pointers that we've gotten is first maintaining good relationships,
Yeah.
uh, developing your character, also getting in experience from industry or making sure you get an experience from somewhere. I think it's something that someone had mentioned that's very important. Something that Bola also mentioned that I think it's important is you don't prepare for what you will do after graduation when you graduate. You actually prepare
Yeah.
for it
Of
before you
course.
graduate.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
but I think we want to relate it more to personal experience now. So tell us briefly about you personally, like what were preparations that you put in place uh before your graduation? Because I remember your undergraduate project was not related to neuroscience. So how were you able to make
That's very
that,
important.
even though that was like a detriment in quotes? How did you change that to translating into still doing neuroscience?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. So, I think for me, like I always feel like there should be a change in our system in Nigeria, but I don't know if it will actually work by allowing students to actually do a project related to what they are interested in. Yeah, I know some students don't actually do have like interest. They don't even know what they want to do until they graduate. So I think majority of these students, the undergrads, they need enlightenment. Because majority of them, they come after graduation. A lot of students that reached out to me, they do come with the same questions. Firstly, what I noticed is that these guys don't actually know a lot about what applying to grad schools. They don't know what it entails. So they do ask some questions and they don't even know what they need to prepare themselves. I think it's been getting better recently, whereby because of this say, kind of things you organize by enlightening the undergrads on what to prepare for ahead of like graduation. So for me, my experience, because I did my project was on cardiovascular stuff. So with my supervisor, I did cardiac autonomic functions, and my interest right from the beginning has been neuroscience. But I work with a supervisor that doesn't do neuroscience. So I had to go for the cardiac aspect of it. So after graduation, I reached out to some lecturers that I knew were doing neuro-related stuff like Dr. Aluko and Dr. Mamus. So that was why I was able to write some review articles with them. I was not able to be physically present in their lab to do some like maybe research-based stuff, but I was able to support my application with some review articles I wrote regarding like related to neuro. So just to show that I have some things related to neuro. And also I was able to like point out some experience I had during my undergrad, just some little stuff, some maybe some online certification, online courses I did. So it's sometimes it's not just about the experience you had, it's about how you like portray that experience to them, how you show that experience to them, how you're able to write and put everything together to show that yes, I don't have experience in this particular area I'm interested in. Maybe you're interested in let's say renal physiology now, but you didn't do anything relating to renal. You don't even know anything related to renal. But the way you're able to put your experience that you add in other aspects together and show it to them that yes, I'm a promising student and I can do well in this specific area that I'm interested in. So I remember reaching out to some professors, and one told me that my experience in neuro is kind of like limited, or let's say I don't have much experience in neuro, but I do have some experience in general physiology, cardiovascular physiology, and some other aspects. And I was able to tell the professor that, oh yeah, I know I don't have experience in this aspect, but this is what I've been doing. Even during my interviews, they always bring up this question. You don't have a neuro background. How were you able to cope? It's just your answer is the one that matters. How you're able to express yourself and how you're able to like kind of like put everything together to show that yes, I don't have this background. I have this experience which will be applicable in this particular aspect, but I'm also willing to learn and do something. And I've been doing this, and that in order to make sure that I survive and also cope with grad school program. So I think that's my own experience regarding coming from a physiology background to a core neuroscience
I think what
program.
you mentioned, like I was just remembering, like the first job I got in Lagos, then was actually to become an application officer for an
Okay.
agency that help people travel out to study.
Yeah.
And one of the
Physiology.
major, yeah, like and one of the major reason why I actually got that job was because in my CV I have AfterLife Initiative, and I wrote what
Okay.
we did, and I said, "Oh, I've reviewed over 500 CVs and SOPs and stuff like that." And the man literally looked at it. I was like, "It looks like you're here to take my job." Like when he saw that particular like that, and it was like, you do this like non-profit, and I was yes, this is what I do to just help people, and I was like, okay. And then it was like, and then he saw my first class, and I was like, oh, okay, you like start on Monday. That was what he just said. He was like, let him start on Monday. And it shows that you gaining some experience or just making yourself gaining some skills, it's not even only to like grad school alone. You could apply it to even getting a
Of
job
course.
that
Yes.
even not really, let's say you want to even change your career, you could just literally apply it into
Mhm.
something else, and you can be good in that thing also and just change, and that could also be the leverage. Joshua, you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Oga Said, I have a question. You said
Okay.
something about some of these undergrads reaching out to you, don't even know what they want and everything. And
Mhm.
I would confidently tell you with full chest that by the time I graduated, you know, my mind was everywhere. I want to be a theoretical physicist. I want to do research in solid state physics. I want to do quantum theory and all this and all that. And when I graduated in 2016, I mean, I give kudos to my dear brother, the Oga Bola and Oga Christian, doing this kind of thing. At the time I graduated, to the best of my ability, we didn't have a lot of people doing the scholarship orientation. One Egmont just came then. What was the CGPA? I was on 4.48. What do you want to do? I want to go to master at Ibadan. Like, no, Shiba boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could go, he just told me you could
Yeah.
go to the US and that was all. There wasn't there wasn't step to step, like, do this, do that. He just gave a general overview and he left. There was nothing to. So when I attempted to apply in 2017, and I would get to the part where they'll say upload your SOP, I was writing
Mhm.
nonsense. My name is blah blah blah. I get with blah blah blah.
You're
that
writing
was
composition.
that was how stupid my SOP was in the first draft. So what I'm just trying to say in a sense is, like I said, you're able to talk about this transition in very easily, which made a lot of sense. But Do you mind telling us if you had someone mentoring you, or you just figured this all out yourself? With all sincerity.
Oh, yeah, of course, I didn't figure it out all myself.
Okay.
Okay, let me tell you specifically what I was interested in. I've actually been interested in, like, we do have, like, as I mentioned earlier, that it's been getting better with students now knowing what they actually wanted because of
Sure.
programs like this AfterLife Initiative and some other programs. Then there were limited programs, but we're able to have some lecturers, Christian and Michael can testify that they were exposed us then. So we're able to have some lecturers that actually exposed us, that they told, like, they kind of exposed us to that, to know that we can actually do some things that we didn't know we could do. So for me, for example, now I've actually had the interest of, although initially my intention was, okay, I will do a master's in maybe like one Nigerian university. I mean, at the beginning of then later on towards my final year, that was when I started, maybe my third year, fourth year, that was when I started, like, getting interested in applying to grad schools. And I had mentors then. So I remember, apart from having my lecturers as my mentor, I also have people like from that I knew outside my university, maybe some of my brother's friends, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this guy, you have a good CGPA." Some of them, so one of them is in Georgia, who has been in the US like maybe 2 or 3 years before I
CGPA
graduated.
was not good, Said. You had the best CGPA. So it wasn't just good.
He said it was
You
good.
had
It
the
was the
best
best.
CGPA.
With the best music. But so
That
I
was
think Joshua, just to add more to what
Right.
Said was saying, I think we, especially like we in this sense, like me, Michael, Said, we're all classmates.
Oh, I see.
And we all came from physiology in Futa. And I would say we had a different privilege if I have to look at comparing us to other physiologists from other schools, because we had lecturers that were very oriented in terms of grad school
Yeah,
application, and they
exactly.
painted a picture of what could be for us. For
Hmm.
example, we had expatriates from outside the country coming to teach us molecular biology while
Yes.
we were undergrads, and
I
that
see.
gave us an opinion of like, oh, I could be this person. There was this guy that came that had like 3 bodyguards with him. And sincerely, that man changed my opinion that I think I want to be so valuable that a country had to
Yeah.
send bodyguards to protect my knowledge. That literally made me want to be a scientist. Like that's the first time I ever say an important scientist.
Right.
That a man was traveling to a country and they had to send 2 armored vehicles, 1 personal bodyguard, and like 4 policemen just
Wow.
because his life is that precious.
Wow.
So that gave me a perspective of like, okay, I think I want to do science. I can be this valuable,
Right.
and I think I would say we're very privileged to have that, and I think that also encouraged us to start this kind of initiative because we had those information readily. After Life Initiative started with like the 3 of us and some other guys are not here,
Wow.
and it's like we need to get people to know this information more. Now we are even more informed. Now we are in the US, but after
No,
Life Initiative had even started way before we
right.
came to the US,
But
just
like
because,
Christian,
yeah.
you guys are, I'm sorry for interrupting, but you guys are doing good job. When I see what people are doing, what Agabola is doing, because I was surprised that people could come in with bachelor degree for PhD. What I felt then was, so all I was thinking was for Erasmus. I mean, I finally got Erasmus, but when Agabola finally added me to ASM in 2022, and I keep seeing when you chat with people, when you get your masters, I came from that.
Yeah, that.
I want to go shack on Europe alone. Not everywhere.
Well, it's good to have all of you.
You've been
With
everywhere.
we're already 3 minutes over time. Thank you to
Okay.
all our viewers online. And today's message is really the fact that even though, I mean, we've mentioned a lot of things, even though you have a lot of deficiencies right now, there's still time for you to catch up. And Oga Felix mentioned something that is very important, that don't be worried about what the future would look like. You just keep putting in your best, like Joshua mentioned. Just keep putting in your best at every time and worry less about what the future will look like because it will eventually pay off for you. And thank you very much once again for today's session. Thank you all our speakers for coming. We'll continue tomorrow again, same time.
So,
So please,
Christian,
yeah.
please let them know they can ask questions, in the comment section
Oh
so that
yeah,
we can
please send in
subsequently we
your,
can address the
yeah.
questions.
Send in your questions in the chat box, And you can also check out the emails in the description to also send in your questions. We'll be more than happy to address everything and why we discuss. My guys, I will be in your inbox.
Thank you,
Thank you
boss.
very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Damola,
See you
Thank you,
guys in the
Bola.
evening.
Thank you,
Bye, okay?
Felix. Thank you,
Maslow, respect,
everyone, for
boss.
coming.
Thank you.